Welcome back, video creeps. What up, guys?
What up? Welcome to my channel, Video Creep. Make sure you hit subscribe.
Hello, internet fans. Do you want to learn about horror movies that you never knew existed? Do you miss the video store but not the late fees? Then join us at 3B Video, where we talk about stuff like this, and this, and this. If you'll excuse me, I've got some videotapes to return. You like Huey Lewis in the news?
Hey, everybody, it's CJ Graham, Jason Voorhees. That's right, Friday the 13th, Part 6. And you're listening to the Snobs.com.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sports Snobs. I'm Pat. He's Kaz. Check us out on the Snobs.com. Check us out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And I don't want to delay this any further. I want to jump right in, right here, Brian, if that's okay with you.
I know the Dolphins didn't make the playoffs.
That's exactly where I was going.
I knew it. I
was gonna say a 10-6 team just couldn't find a way in there. Whoa, what an ugly loss. Whew. Nothing.
Hey, it was Buffalo. Buffalo is a top 2 team, so not worried. You know, it's not like we pulled Tua for our 4th string quarterback and kind of gave up the game. And we fought to the end.
I thought you might say that, and I want to circle back on Tua because I don't know, maybe he's just not healthy yet because he's only come off an injury, a year ago? So maybe he's just still kind of, I guess, physically nervous, or maybe the whole Fitzpatrick, him getting benched here every now and then, maybe that messes with his mind. But yeah, to your point, he didn't get benched that game. Well, he really couldn't because there was really no other quarterback option for him to go to because Fitzpatrick had the COVID. But the Eagles,
I'm sure they have like a reserve emergency quarterback. I think his name is Sudfeld.
They should have called. They should have called the Eagles up. Said, "Hey, can we borrow your 3rd string quarterback who cleans the locker room floors after practice?" Because what a mess. And I'm going to go on a little rant here. I'll keep it a good tone here. I won't yell.
No, I want to hear this.
No,
I'm sitting back. I'm enjoying.
So here's the issue. From a Giants perspective, I'll take two perspectives here: the Giants fan perspective and the football fan perspective, and we'll see if you can relate to at least the fan perspective. From the Giants' point of view, of course, it sucks. I stayed up to watch that game. If they started Sudfeld, I certainly would not have, but I stayed up. It was a competitive game, and obviously the Giants beat the Cowboys earlier in the day, so I was like, all right, we're in this. It's sad. I'm not proud of being a 6-10 team and potentially making the playoffs, but we're in it, and I'm sure you would watch the game as well if it was the Dolphins and, let's say, the Bills were the team that was, sitting there at 6-9, potentially going to knock off the Dolphins, but in any event. So as a Giants fan, you're pissed because the Eagles should have won. I mean, Alex Smith looked pretty terrible in the second half. He couldn't even move. The defense really carried them to that victory for the Washington football team. But to pull Jalen Hurts in the 4th quarter for Nate Sudfeld, who has played one game in his entire NFL career, is absolutely absurd.
But it's only his like second year, right?
No, he's been around, I think.
No, he has.
I don't know how long. I mean, he's not like a seasoned vet, like, you know, career back. I mean, he's going to be a career backup if he even has a job next year. But in any event, what I hear I see on Twitter and people on the radio saying, "Oh, you're a Giants fan. You're just mad. You should have won your games." And I'm not disputing that. Like I said, as a Giants fan, I'm mad, but I'm not saying that's the reason we didn't make the playoffs. As a football fan, like, how disgusting is it? Players on the team were like, dude, what the hell are you doing? His own players apparently tried to, I don't want to say attack him, but confront him. And this is a week after Jason Kelce went off on his little, you know, post-game. Jason did his best J.J. Watt impression, calling out, you know, effort and not wanting to sit players for whatever other reasons besides winning the game. You benched in the fourth. You threw the game. You threw the game. The Washington football team they could have still won. There's no doubt. But you threw the game, and they're comparing it to the Steelers and the Chiefs, saying, "Oh, the Steelers benched their players, the Chiefs benched their players." Yeah, before the game started, you knew who was playing the game. They didn't take Patrick Mahomes out in the fourth quarter and put in whatever the hell the guy's name, not Chase Daniel. I don't even know the guy's, Chad Henne. Like, that's not what happened. They didn't pull Ben Roethlisberger out and put in Joshua Dobbs or Mason Rudolph in the fourth quarter of the one-score game. You cannot compare them. And Keyshawn effing Johnson, especially on ESPN, this guy's out of his mind. Every single show he was on today, he had the same stance, and everyone ripped him. They were like, it's not the same. Like, they're coaching to win the game with backups. You coached to lose the game. It's absurd. I don't understand it.
I think it's totally different than Mahomes and Roethlisberger. It was a coach trying to build his locker room. The guy was on the practice squad for 17 weeks this year, never got COVID, was a team player. So, you know what? Let's be nice. It's a senior night. Let's let him get some pictures out there on the field. Let his parents see him on Sunday Night Football, primetime football. He was a team player, so I think it's a lot different than what you're trying to portray it as.
Maybe there was a $25,000 bonus if he took like 8 snaps. I could understand it if they came out and said that, like if that somehow got leaked, like in the Seahawks game when Russell Wilson changed the play to get David Moore, who he got the one reception or a jet sweep, whatever the hell it was. He got like $500,000 or something like that. Like that, I could respect. Like getting your players some money. It just makes no sense. It's like, as a Giants fan, I can't even argue it with anybody because they're just going to say, "Well, you're a Giants fan." But like, I mean, you threw a game. I mean, that's there might actually be consequences. Like he did that for the 6th pick. They might even lose the 6th pick now. Who knows? The NFL is crazy, and the fact that got flexed to the Sunday night because they were like, "Oh, divisional game, you could knock out a playoff team," or at least that game determines who wins the division, as garbage of a division as it is. Like that's national television. Like it is just absolutely terrible. It's the total opposite of what Carrie Underwood sings when Sunday Night Football starts, when you're waiting all day for Sunday night. I waited all day for that garbage, that absolute garbage. That's all I could say.
Hey, I don't know many people that would actually watch that Sunday night game that weren't NFC East fans. So it doesn't matter. Nobody, like, I didn't watch it. I'm a huge football fan. I didn't watch it. I didn't care. I said, I'll see the score tomorrow. So it didn't diminish the product. The product was already diminished. I know why they flexed it to the night game. Because it was the only division that was up for grabs. But hey, it was that was the most interesting Sunday night game all year because of what Peterson did.
If he started Sudfeld, I would have said, all right, I see what you're doing. I can't.
Or if Hurts threw 4 interceptions.
And he didn't play well, but he ran for 2 touchdowns, and Sudfeld couldn't even move. He could barely pick up a football after he dropped it on the floor. I mean, the man looked. He just. I don't know, and I do kind of feel bad for him because he's just caught in the middle here. Coach is just like, you're going in the game, and he's probably like, oh my, like, do you understand the fallout of this? Like, I'm going to be the butt of all these jokes and arguments, and sure enough,
think about it this way: now you have Wentz, who doesn't like the coach, and now Hurts doesn't like the coach, and yet didn't fire the coach. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe it was the coach's decision. I believe somebody in the front office told him, don't win the game. We want the number 6 pick. Don't win the game. So that person should be fired too.
Yeah, you have to. Well, especially because he got a contract extension. I believe he got a contract extension like days before, or at least he was told that he was coming back. I don't know if it was an extension necessarily. He might have already been on the contract the next year, but they basically said, you're here to stay for at least the next year. And then they probably came down and were like, to your point, because I don't think he would make that decision on his own. But still, him being the face of the decision, I just want to punch him in the face.
There's nobody in that locker room that will ever respect him again.
Yeah, and did you hear what Darius Slay? He got interviewed and he was like, "Well, not Darius Slay. What's his name? Miles Sanders." He was like, nobody knew like what was going on. They were all annoyed, and they basically just couldn't believe it. And you say you weren't watching the game, and not many people were, but like on Twitter, there were players from other teams who were just like, ... question mark, like what is going on right now? Like it made absolutely zero sense. So,
well, you saw himself say it's not fair. You literally saw him now that on the bench before you saw Sudfeld, Jared Stidham, whatever the hell his name is, warming up. You literally saw him on the bench going, "This isn't fair," and you're like, "What the hell is going on?" Then all of a sudden, you see this nobody warming up.
Yeah, I'm just still like I'm not now. I'm over it now. I'm not gonna be one of those people that completely goes to the whole playoffs and says the Giants should be here because they're gonna get knocked. Whoever. So
you got it out of your system now.
I got it out of my system. Yeah, I just got really late.
It only took a few days. Now it's done.
Yeah, because I'm not the only one that feels that way, and I got reinforced, I guess, by what I heard on the radio. Outside of freaking Keyshawn Johnson, who's just. No respect for that man. Anywho, let's move on. So, Doug Peterson, obviously not someone that I would want to play football for, especially given this past weekend and essentially lying to all his.
I would, because I would know that if I just went to practice every day,
you might
do the right things. By the end of the year, I'll at least get a quarter on the field.
It's just sick, absolutely sick. But all right. So all kidding aside, Doug Peterson, get out of here. Probably anybody in the NFC East, right? And maybe Joe Judge, but it's still too early to tell. But you had a good question about hypothetical, right? If one of us or both of us were gifted with some great talent beyond the flag football field, what coach would we want to play for? And I think it's a great question. So since it was your idea, I'll let you go first, and I'll give you the floor.
So do they have to be a current NFL coach?
I think I think so. But I mean, if you want,
I can't say Adam Gase.
Well, he might.
I can't say Adam Gase is out here.
You could say college coordinator because apparently Alabama's interviewing him, which I don't get it. And they'll be the number one offense in the NCAA next year. Watch it makes zero sense. But no Adam Gase, please. I've had enough of Adam Gase.
So there's a few current NFL coaches that I would play for, and for the few of you watching the podcast that know me, and the few that watch the podcast in general probably know me, I like a coach that is there for their team, is tough on everybody. There's no favorites. There's no nothing. That's how I coached when I coached basketball and all that. Everybody got to pull their weight. everybody got to do everything, but at the same point in time, if you need anything, they got your back. So I would definitely have to say Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin would be the guy that I would go for. He doesn't badmouth any of his players in public. He speaks the truth. He'll say if somebody's playing horrible, but he won't badmouth them. He won't go behind their back. You never have heard a player say a bad word about Mike Tomlin. All you hear is that people want to play for him. And I'm hoping Flores is in the same mold. It seems like it. It's early in his career. But, yeah, I would go Tomlin.
Yeah, and if you're on the special teams on the Steelers, he'll even help you potentially make a tackle on a kickoff by stepping onto the field and tripping the returner. So, I mean,
he did not trip him.
I know he didn't, but I'm saying he could. He was on the field enough to trip him, but
he just made a misalignment. He thought the line was about 3 feet farther from where he was, and he was trying to yell out a block that was coming. Somebody was going to get hit, blindside block, and he was trying to help his player out.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, looking out for the welfare of his players. Totally understand.
Absolutely.
So I was actually going to say Mike Tomlin too, and I guess that says a lot about Mike Tomlin, right? I have another one in mind, which I'll go with, but just to back it, to kind of back that argument for Mike Tomlin. I mean, the guy never loses. Last year he played with third and fourth. He played with a Nate Sudfeld, and they won 7 games, I think, or maybe even 8. I don't even know, okay. But they were competitive. They were better than the Browns were last year, and the Browns had a full squad. He doesn't lose. He's part of the Steelers organization, which the fact that he got that job says a ton about his character and just his coaching IQ and all that good stuff, because they've only had 3 coaches in the last 50 plus years. So they wouldn't pick someone just for the hell of it. That's obvious. And I like his attitude. He's kind of chill. It seems like he just wears the sweatshirt and the regular sports jacket. Doesn't go too crazy on the sidelines like some other coaches. Just very chill guy, but he's got a very, I guess, kind of mean. He's not mean, but he's got that intensity about him. So I would definitely play for Mike Tomlin. The other person who's kind of almost an opposite in regard to everything else except for the winning part is Pete Carroll. He looks like the hell of a good time. He's like your uncle who you go to their house on the holidays and you guys get drunk together and you just shoot the shit, and there's nothing. It just having weird conversations with you. Over the summer, he had Will Ferrell join their Zoom meeting and pretend he was Greg Olson. That's the type of stuff. How would you not want to play?
Dude, he took his shirt off.
Yeah,
with DK Metcalf. Come on.
He's hilarious, and I think he's still the oldest coach in the league, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think anybody else got hired recently that was older than him, but he's got so much pep in. He looks like a fun guy. I don't like the Seahawks, so that makes me hesitate liking him, but that's just the nature of football, right? You root for the jerseys, not the players necessarily or coaches. But if he was a Giants coach, I would love him. I would definitely play for him.
Now, you said nobody in the NFC East. You wouldn't do Ron Rivera?
I don't know. Ron, if anybody, then yes, Ron Rivera. If I had to choose one from the division, but I don't know if he's really ever how many good years did he have in Carolina? He had one obviously phenomenal year in which they made the Super Bowl, but I mean outside of that, were they ever a team, or was he ever a coach that you were wow, he's really rallying this team together? I don't know.
I've never seen him have a great team. I've never seen him have a great supporting cast.
Yeah, I mean, defensively he has, and that's his thing, right? Luke Kuechly, and he's had some big defensive linemen on the Panthers in the past, and they've had solid second. Josh Norman when he was actually decent, although he played well this weekend against your Dolphins. Yeah, he's a motivating guy. I mean, the dude was going through chemo. If that's not commitment, going through chemotherapy treatments while during training camp and then part of the earlier part of the season. I mean, you have to, if that doesn't get you fired up and you're not willing to go out there and give everything you have, like he's a coach who would not pull your starting quarterback for your second string.
No, he would just release the guy that you drafted in the first round 2 years ago,
which is nuts.
He started,
which is nuts. Like, man, I just like the Giants got a bunch of crap for not picking Dwayne Haskins, like to the point where they were saying it was like a racist. It was based on racist like motives, like not to pick a black quarterback for your New York franchise. But they totally made the right decision, unless the Washington football team is just in complete shambles and they can't like groom any play. Like, I mean, Chase Young, I guess it's easier when you're a defensive player. Like you don't fall. I mean, there's not as much pressure, obviously. Although you are the number 1 overall pick, so I don't know. But
number 2.
But man, number 2. But to release, like that's crazy. That's never happened. In the second year, it's that's the one.
And you didn't know if Alex Smith was available.
Yeah. Well, Tyler or Taylor Heineke, like that dude looked like he could play football compared to Dwayne Haskins, at least. I mean, he was finished the game with like a 60 to 70% completion percentage. And
maybe that's what Peterson was thinking. Maybe he thought Sudfeld could be Heineke. Yeah.
I think he was drinking some Heinekens when he made that decision. I'm working on my dad jokes. That was a good one there. I got a whole book. Yeah, just absolutely. And side note, every time I see Washington football team abbreviation on ESPN, I see WFT, but immediately my head goes to WTF. And I'm like, that pretty much sums up that organization, everything they do.
And rumor has it they're going to still go by Washington football team next year.
I feel like if they win at least one playoff game, they have to. Like you can't change. This is your most successful season in the last maybe 10. I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe early 20, maybe 2011, 2012. I don't know when they last won the division. But this is your most successful season in like 10 years. You have to keep the name. You can't change it. You're going to see other teams like changing their name. Like you're going to see the Miami football team, and then you're going to see the Tampa Bay football team. And
I'm waiting for Chicago to go the Chicago hockey team.
Yeah, that's too much. I can't speak on it because I'm not of like Native American or whatever descent. So obviously I cannot speak on that. But do people like how offensive is like Redskins? I understand the backstory of that, but like Blackhawk or Chief, like I don't get the negative part. And maybe I'm ignorant, but I don't, unless someone came out and was like, hey, I'm totally outraged. Me and these 100,000 people, we want you to change the name. Like, I don't understand it. I don't know.
Blackhawk, Seminoles, those are tribes. So yeah. I personally don't see those as offensive. Indians, Redskins, okay, I can definitely agree there. But if that'd be like saying, you can't call a team the I'm trying to think of one, Wizards, because now all the people that think they're magicians are going to be like, that's offensive. Like, come on.
What about the Browns? Then you can't have the Blues and the Greens. I mean, we're just knocking off every other color. It's not right.
Hey, if my name was Bill Buffalo, I'd be protesting every day.
100%. And I don't think you're the first one either. I think there's a petition going around online.
I know. I know a Bill, and he won't even watch games when that comes on.
Do I know? I don't think I know one. I know some Williams, but we don't have that type of relationship where I could throw out a Bill like that.
What's ironic is I know a William who's actually a Buffalo fan, but yet the Bill I know is not a Buffalo fan. So, it goes both ways.
Wow. That's something else.
I know. It's so confusing. 2021, it's going to be a confusing year.
So I got a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, Jason Garrett is being looked at for
don't even.
the Chargers. I want to hear, what do you think? If he gets it, are they successful? Is he worth it?
No.
If they need someone to clap on the sidelines, then they got the right guy.
If he gets that job, I would feel so bad for Herbert. I would just, I'd feel bad. I would tell him to demand, like I would personally find his Twitter, his Instagram, everything. I'd call his agent and be like, demand a trade because his career is over.
Well, what's funny is Anthony Lynn gets fired after a 7-9 season, and his career record with them is above 500 too. So it's interesting. But if Jason Garrett was the coach of the Chargers this past year, I'm pretty sure they're a playoff team. Like Anthony Lynn he lost games single-handedly. And we talked about this earlier, and I said I would not be shocked if he got fired. And sure enough, like some of his game management was absolutely terrible. And the one that stands out is like running the ball. You're down by 2 scores, no timeouts, 16 seconds left, and you run the ball from the 1 yard line.
Is that him or is that the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, but he's got to know, like, be in that guy's ear. It was the same. What other game?
So then
Adam Gase, when Greg Williams calls an all-out blitz, Adam Gase hears that, and granted, the Jets have timeout in that situation, so Adam Gase should have taken a timeout. I don't think the Chargers didn't have any timeout, so he couldn't do that. But on the way to on your way up to the ball, like you can communicate with the quarterback until 15 seconds on the play clock through the helmet. So like at that point, I'm like, dude, no, you need to change the play call and either spike the ball or we're going to pass it in. Like it just doesn't make sense. But
I think there's only one coach that can talk to the player. I don't think there's two.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But the coach needs to be right on top of that coordinator unless he's in the booth. But
so then here's my argument. Then you said you would want to play for Pete Carroll. Look at what he did in a Super Bowl to lose the game.
Oh, sure. No excuse for that. I mean, zero excuse. And if they didn't win a Super Bowl after that, I don't know if he would still have a job. And it sounds crazy, right? But Seattle has like a very, very strong, you win, or let's say like the fans will not take anything less than a competitive team. You have to put a competitive team out there. So if they're not making the playoffs and they don't win that Super Bowl after that, I don't know what Pete Carroll's doing. But Jason Garrett's not that terrible of a coach. Like, I hated him because he's on the Cowboys. I hate everyone who's on the Cowboys. If Dak Prescott does not sign with the Cowboys and the Giants were like, we don't like Daniel Jones, I don't like Dak Prescott because he's on the Cowboys. But if it came to the Giants, I'd be like, all right, let's go, Dak. Like, I think that's just the way it is. And the Cowboys have a way of, like, no matter who you are, like, even as a Dolphins fan, you probably cannot stand the Cowboys and many of their players simply because of that star on their helmet.
I don't know if I'd go that far. It's the personality, the cockiness that most of their players have. There are players there that I liked, but it's just their persona. Like CeeDee Lamb, love him. Amari Cooper, no, can't stand him. Ezekiel Elliott, can't stand him. Dak Prescott, I don't mind him. I don't think he's as good as people say he is.
He got a terrible cramp injury according to Tony Romo earlier this season. So hopefully he comes back from that at 100%. I think that's the Cowboys system though. Like even Tony Romo looked like decent. Like he was a good quarterback when he was on the Cowboys, and he played for Jason Garrett. I think Jason Garrett's a decent coach, just not a good head coach. But I still think anybody could have coached the Chargers. Adam Gase, no, I won't go that far. Jason Garrett could have coached the Chargers, and they probably could have won at least 9 games. They could have been there with your Dolphins, kind of looking from the outside, saying, "Hey, we got 2 more wins than the teams in the NFC. What the hell?"
But what does that matter? What does that matter? Wouldn't you rather your quarterback is going to win Rookie of the Year? He was not expected to play this year. Now, you had a successful year. You did a lot of good things. Yeah, you only won 7 games, whatever it was. You have a high draft pick. you can help build around Herbert. Now you're going to say, oh, by the way, you didn't have training camp with your head coach. You were not expected to start. Some doctor doesn't know how to give a needle. So now you have to start 5 minutes before the game. You play phenomenal. And now you got to learn a whole new system.
I mean, good points for sure. But
look at Baker Mayfield. Everybody's saying this year the reason why Baker Mayfield was horrible is he had, 4 coaches in 3 years?
But Justin Herbert is the real, Justin Herbert, I think, is on another level. And I think we both agree. Justin Herbert is just,
Hey, people said that about Wentz.
Well, yeah, but then look, we can go back to Doug Peterson and see who's really at fault there for that relationship falling apart. But good point on the Baker, right? You said he's had 4 coaches so far. He's about to have.
I think it was his 5th.
He's about to have 6 because now Kevin Stefanski, he's got the vid. According to Kevin Hart, he's got the vid. So, what are they? And this goes back to Mike's question last week. Oh, is COVID making, the season interesting, more competitive, surprising? I mean, what do you do here if you're the NFL? I mean, they have 5 coaches, I think, so it's not affecting players yet.
No, I heard there was 2 players.
Is there? Okay.
That's what I heard.
Adam Schefter didn't text me yet. I was waiting for him to get back to me.
I called him right before the.
Oh, you did? Which phone did you call? Because he's got 6.
That's a private thing between me and him.
Oh, okay.
But the one thing that I'm going to say about this is I'm starting to doubt the NFL being totally transparent about these COVID tests, because here we are 3 weeks of the Browns having positive tests, but yet they're allowed to play. So I find it very hard to believe, just knowing the disease itself. Oh, 4 wide receivers got it. But everybody else is okay. You can play the game on Sunday. We got to close the facility from Monday to Thursday because now 4 other people got it. And now, miraculously, they played again on Sunday. And you're hearing today that 4 coaches and 2 players have it. So I find it very hard to believe that COVID disappears for a little bit, then comes back, then disappears. And all these people who are professionals and trying to do the right thing, you hope, because you're not hearing stories like you were with, some of the basketball players and even Haskins going to strip clubs and things like that. You're not hearing that about these people. So where are they getting it from? It sounds like it's in the locker room because you're talking 3 weeks of positive tests and them having to close the locker room. But yet they're not moving the games. They're not talking about any of that. So I'm wondering if they're hiding something, the NFL, because like you said, a primetime game, they want the money. They want to have that big matchup in there. So are they just gung-ho on, we're not going to have any games canceled. We're going to go forward with the season, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I thought the same thing because the nature of the virus is that if you have 4 players, if you have your 4 starting wide receivers get the virus, I mean, who are they practicing with? They're not playing. They're not by themselves with Nate Sudfeld throwing them fade routes on the sideline during their practice. I mean, they're with every other player throwing the same ball, probably spitting on their hands for their gloves to get. I mean, we've all, you play football. Your hands are, you're either blowing your hands if it's cold, spitting the gloves to get them sticky. There's tons of different things. That's
NFL gloves, you don't have to spit on them to get them sticky. That would probably make it worse.
Maybe, but the point is it and the way they test, we test every day. Sometimes we test multiple times a day. Well, that's great because you could have 2 tests per day for 3 straight days and they'll all say negative. It's not going to matter because it might take you 72 plus hours to actually yield a positive COVID test. So when all the Browns wide receivers had COVID, we all, I mean, you had to have known, right? I mean, it's high probability someone else was going to get it. And then I guess you just hoped that they had like the antibodies and that it wouldn't like be an issue. I don't know, because it doesn't make sense. And it's 3 straight weeks. So, and then what happens with the Steelers? Because the Steelers played the Browns last week. I'm sure Mike Tomlin shook this guy's hand, and maybe it didn't pass. Maybe that's not necessarily how it's not definitely going to get transmitted through just one contact, whatever. But like, you have to think if that's the case, then what do you do? Like, do you play this game? Like, here's what if you play this game, and let's say some Steelers are going to get COVID, right? Maybe it's taking some time, and Mike Tomlin, whatever. Let's just say hypothetical, and you play this game, you're delaying the playoffs after this even further. So, like, do you just get it out of the way now and say they don't play this week, or maybe they get pushed to Tuesday, but then the winner gets a short? There's no, I don't know how you do it at this point.
You know what? It's already too late for the NFL to even fix it, because, like we both said, Cleveland's had this for 3 weeks. It's not going away. It's bigger than 4 wide receivers, a couple linebackers, a few coaches. It's bigger than that. Look at the Duke's women's basketball team. They had 3 people test positive, 4 people test positive. They're like, you know what? We can't control this. We're done for the year.
Yeah.
But yet the NFL is just going to be like, oh, it's only 4 or 5 people. Don't worry about it. Like, where's the contact tracing? I mean, dude.
Yeah, if they wear like the wristbands or like some stupid shit like that, where it's like, oh, you came within 4 feet of me. Now I have to sit out and quarantine because I don't know. It's so clearly it's ineffective.
There was not one cornerback in all of Cleveland that was within 4 feet of the Browns wide receivers.
No, they purposely play a zone because of COVID.
So when does like the NFL step in over the team handling it? Do you think, when does that need to come about?
The NFL does handle it, but the NFL isn't going to want to lose the revenue. They don't want to lose a game. They don't want to lose a week of football. The Browns were fighting for playoffs for the past 3 weeks. So they didn't want to step in and say, oh, it's over, because it was intriguing football. It was a playoff race. And the NFL is not going to do anything to shut down their revenue. I mean, look at the NHL now. They're selling the naming rights to their 4 divisions because they can't make money because of COVID. So it's all a money grab, and I thought the NFL would handle it better. I'm just not confident that they did it the right way.
Yeah, they step in here and there, and like, was it? Yeah, the Broncos, where they said, well, no one. It was like, what's the word I'm looking for here? It was they didn't follow the protocols, like, and it was proven. Right, that's the only time they really step in, I guess. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out later this week that Kevin Stefanski, like, what was who recently? There was like a dinner at a hotel. Was it a basketball team?
No, it was actually Deshaun Watson opened up a new restaurant, and people from the Texans showed up.
Yeah, and he's and it was proven, right, that they were wearing masks intermittently. And it was like, well, and then he played.
James Harden in Atlanta, Las Vegas, everywhere else he went.
Yeah, well, that's where the NBA has it right. I mean, I feel like, well, you have to have it right in the NBA because it's a much different sport where it's like skin to skin contact, and you're breathing it right on top of other players. They come down in terms of disciplinary action for everything much better than any other sport, and that's, I guess, credit to Adam Silver, but. As much power as the NBA players have, I mean, they seem to have a way better understanding of what's going on with COVID.
I would say, I'm not talking about COVID, but discipline-wise, I would say the MLB is the toughest.
but too tough. Like that, they're ridiculous. Like so some of the stuff they come down on is so stupid. Like it's so wishy-washy. It's like we prove that the Astros cheated, but we're not going to do anything. And I know it's hard to do anything with that, and I can go on a whole rant there too. But in MLB, they're so strict with some things, and then other things are like, you compromise the integrity of the game, but we don't really want to spend time investigating an entire team, so we'll let it go. But if you're one player and it's easy for us to prove that you did something wrong, then we'll pursue it. It's just
or if you were one of the 400 players that used steroids during the 90s, you could never get in the Hall of Fame.
Did you see that guy who submitted a Hall of Fame ballot and it was blank? It was his first time voting, and he wrote in an email or whatever, however they submitted, he wrote that although the players like accomplished stuff on the field, their moral accomplishments he cannot like get behind. So therefore he voted for nobody. Like, dude, that's your first time voting. And they know who he like. I think they've said who he is. Like, you're out of your mind. Like, you're such an idiot. Like, who are you?
He wanted someone. He wants more Twitter followers. That's all he wanted.
He got them, and he probably got a bunch of hate mail and all that other stuff.
Hey, all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
I wish we would get some hate mail.
Oh, I do. I just don't. I don't tell you about it because it's all about you. I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Oh, trust me, you do.
You're too mean. You're yelling at Pat. You got to get scolded.
I know.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that write, and we just don't tell you about it. But last thing.
That means people are watching, man. That means people are watching. Embrace it.
Absolutely. To your point, any publicity is good publicity. I won't. Hey, if they want to hate you, benefits me. I'm fine with that. They could hate me too if they wanted to. But as we discussed many a times, it looks like the NCAA is finally. Oh, we got breaking news. Hold on, the Heisman Award was just announced, and my sources tell me that who won the Heisman Award? The text is coming through as we speak. Breaking. This is live. Wow. Guess who won the Heisman Award? The Eagles' future 6th overall pick.
Ah.
The Alabama
the 3
wide receiver. Devonta or Devontae, however you prefer to say his name.
Dolphins take him at 3.
Then I'll have Devontae Parker and Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
That's his last name, right?
Yeah.
That's a duo. Wow. Wide receiver hasn't won since the guy who hosts game day, right?
Desmond Howard.
Michigan, man. Interesting. Wow. Look at that breaking news.
Wait. Didn't Woodson win it after Howard, or was that before Howard?
Well, he's a DB, though.
He played both. He played both sides of the ball.
I don't know. Maybe he did win it after him. Yeah, that was after Howard. But look at that, Devonta Smith, wide receiver, Alabama. That's he had a hell of a season. I mean, and they might get Jalen Waddle back for the national championship game, which is just absurd. I don't know how Ohio State's going to cover them. But the NCAA finally decided to bubble up. And we didn't think it'd be possible. We didn't think that there would be March Madness, but it sounds like there's going to be March Madness, and they're going to go to Indiana. So, I mean, you follow college basketball more than I do. I think. Obviously, this is a good move, right?
You know what? I'm still not confident. It's only January. You got 2 more months. You got games getting canceled every other day. Unless they quarantine the teams for 2 weeks before they start the tournament, I don't see how you're going to have 60-something teams of college kids in a bubble. And it's not really a bubble because they're talking about 3 or 4 different venues in Indianapolis. So I'm just not confident in it. I'm really not. I mean, there were 3 major games canceled in the past week. I'm talking like top 10 teams that were matched up to play and it got canceled.
Villanova can't catch a break.
I'm not. It's going to be another thing like Ohio State in football. You're going to have a team that gets a number 3 seed in the bracket that played 12 games, and another team that played 25 games gets left out because their name isn't Duke. Their name isn't, UConn or whatever brand you're talking about. So it's kind of, I'm not really feeling it this year. I'm really not.
And that's a good point, because that's actually a good comparison, like record wise, because Ohio State played what? They played 5 regular season games, not counting the championship. So if you have teams playing 10 games in other conference, you're playing literally half the amount of games. So if you take that to basketball, I mean, 12 games and someone else is playing 24, 25. Like does that make it any different? Like, I feel like that just sounds so much more like extreme to allow a team with 12 games, granted they might go 11-1, in over a team that goes like 20-5. Like that just sounds worse.
100%, because especially with college basketball or NBA or that, college football is 1 game a week. Basketball, you're playing 3, maybe 4 games a week. So it's not just, if it's not just, okay, you get COVID, you're not playing your next 4 games, right? But the other team doesn't get COVID. They play on the road. They win. They have to fly to they play in the West Coast. They have to fly to, let's say, Chicago. 2 days later, they're playing again. And, I mean, we all have our own opinions on, are they really student athletes? But at the same point in time, they still got work to do. Whether it's just basket weaving or whatever stupid classes they're taking.
Scuba diving.
Yeah, they still got to do it. But, that's why you never see, I mean, the Bulls. What was it, 72 wins? That's like the greatest feat ever, because it's the travel. You'll never see a basketball team. You'll never see a baseball team. You'll never see a hockey team go undefeated, because the travel, the grind, the pace, everything like that, you can't sustain that and go undefeated. Football, you can, because it's, I get up, I play on Saturday or Sunday, if you're pro, or Monday, Tuesday with COVID, but you then don't play. The quickest you have to turn around and play is 4 days. These other sports, you have 3 games in 4 days. That takes a toll on the body, and you also can't prepare like you can for football. You don't have 4 days of watching film. You're watching the film on the bus to the airport for your next game.
Yeah, but all valid points. But I think at the end of the day, it's all about the money, and
100%.
they're not going to let this tournament go. It doesn't matter how bad it looks from a 25 games played for one team versus 10 to 12 for another. They're not going to care. They didn't care with Ohio State, and Ohio State kind of bailed them out. Not to say Ohio State's not a good team, obviously. I mean, clearly they just knocked off Clemson. But if they lose that game and it's the opposite score, they're gonna they would get killed. They would get absolutely killed, because not only did you lose, not only did people not think you deserve to be there, but you played less games. So to your point, you should be healthier. Like, you should be, your body is just more prepared, like more recovered. You haven't undergone the same type of physical abuse that in that game alone. Imagine Justin Fields had a game like that earlier in the season where he got hit in the ribs like that. I mean, those are the types of things that stay with you for weeks. So it's all about the money. They'll get this thing done. I'm shocked it took them this long.
They talked about it since November. They were saying it was going to all be in Indianapolis. They just didn't decide the size of the field. Now they kind of determined it's going to be a full field They're going to get 3 or 4 venues and do everybody there. There was talk it would just be like a Sweet 16. But now it's expanded. But again, I don't know. I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll say at this rate, if Villanova, a perfect example. I mean, they played 5. I don't know how many games they played, but other teams in the Big East have played 10 plus games. Villanova's had 3 separate breaks. It doesn't make sense, but Jay Wright will find his way in because he's Jay Wright.
He'll get in. He'll get in. And Rutgers is having an amazing season, but they have a few losses. So Villanova would get in ahead of them, which I don't think is fair to the kids at Rutgers.
No. All that matters is if Seton Hall gets in. That's all that really matters because, could have won it last year, but unfortunate COVID situation prevented that from happening. So let's go Seton Hall sitting there. I think second place in the Big East right now, if you don't count Villanova, because again, haven't played many games. But big game this week against Creighton. So we'll see. Show some pirate pride in this house. Don't hate. What, you got you went? Did you go to Rutgers?
No.
What the hell did you go to school? I don't know where you went.
I went to a small little Division III school so I can actually play basketball.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry for your loss.
You remember?
No. It wasn't a lot.
The Greyhounds. Your favorite auditor of all time was there, and she used to do the hand signal that the Greyhounds do.
Well, I'll have to take this offline because I have no idea what you're talking about, but now I'm curious. So
you work with her now?
No, I don't. She might have left. Maybe you haven't been filled in. But anywho, let's wrap this baby up. We'll see. Next time we record, if the college football playoff championship is played on Monday, we will have watched that game, and I'm sure we'll have some reaction to that, especially with a little Justin Fields conversation going on. I don't know how he didn't break any ribs or mess up his spleen, but hey, good for him. And we'll see what the Heisman Award winner Devonta Smith can do against Ohio State, but probably going to be like a 58-50 final score, something absolutely absurd because Alabama doesn't play defense anymore.
Is that one of your picks for the show this week?
No, but I almost we'll talk about that on the pick show, but I had a better shot hitting the Alabama pick than I got freaking that damn backdoor cover by Notre Dame, but I had a better shot than your stupid Ohio State pick. But in any event, that's our show. Once again, check us out on thescenesnobs.com. Check us out on YouTube if you want to see Brian's beautiful New Jersey hat that he's been sporting week to week. And wherever you get your podcasts, please subscribe. Check us out. And again, we'll have our picks segment. I think I won again. I got to tally up the points, but I am cutting this baby close, and we'll see. You might be digging into your pockets for my charity, but we'll have to defer to the official score on that one. So we will see you later this week.